Next guy on our signing day profiles, Chauncey Gooden.
Mm-hmm.
He's been committed to the Buffs for a minute. He's been recruiting for the Buffs for a minute. He was on that Julian Lewis visit back in June. And this is one of the most fun tapes I think we're going to watch today. This guy's got two-way ability. He's toting the rock.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
with it.
sign me up for an offensive lineman whose first two highlights is them carrying the football. And I mean that so seriously because look at the athleticism on display here by Chauncey Gooden. Look, I remember a recruitment going back to last year of a offensive lineman, Jaquan McCroy.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talked to people internally while they were recruiting him, it was like, hey, look, this guy's got a lot of work to do physically before he's going to see the field in college football. That is not true of Chauncey Gooden. You watch this guy, you watch his athleticism, you watch his mobility, you watch the way that he just moves out there and how fluid he is, and you could see a path for him to get on the field very early at Colorado. Obviously, strength, always a big thing for these young offensive linemen coming in, but we saw Colorado and what they did with Jordan Seaton last year from the time that he got to campus to the time that he was out there for week one, starting at left tackle. So that athleticism and just fluidity that you see from Chauncey Gooden on tape is really exciting to me.
Just a nasty ball player in terms of just physicality, finishing blocks. I mean, you do not want to see this young man pulling and trying to take your head off. That's a scary sight. And Chauncey Gooden is the type of recruit that people in the outside world say that Deion Sanders and his recruiting staff can't recruit the Boulder, right?
Yep.
You know that Deion Sanders is going to get receivers, secondary players, but interior offensive lineman, Chauncey Gooden is one of the best of them in the entire 2025 class. I mean, he chose Colorado over offers from Clemson, Georgia, Michigan, Missouri, Oklahoma, Oregon, Tennessee. He was looked at as a Clemson lock early on in the process, but, he's a buff, and he's going to be a big part of protecting Julian Lewis or whoever's under center for, the next few years to come. Again, like you mentioned, RK, even as early as this season, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
He's listed at 6'4", 320. He comes from Lipscomb Academy in Nashville, Tennessee. And yeah, the first word that comes to my mind watching this stuff is violence. I mean, look at this guy. He's throwing kids out the club.
For real.
Or on the ground. And he's finishing blocks. But we've talked a lot about the offensive line, of course, with this football team and protecting the quarterback. The guards position, though, it seems to be a position that Colorado keeps rotating players. They're looking for an answer.
Yeah.
Chauncey Gooden projects to be potentially the long-term answer for this football program at one of those guard spots.
Absolutely. And I just have to go back to it. 320 pounds.
Yeah.
And he's 18 years old or 17 years old, and he moves like that. That's not normal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not normal at all. And then to add on to what you said, Scott, these are the type of players that if Coach Prime can consistently bring this caliber of trench player to Colorado, and we're very much on that path, that's how you get to start competing with Georgia and Alabama and places like that.
100%.
It sounds crazy talking about that now from where Colorado came from when Coach Prime got here, but that's the difference, right? When you go up against those big-time SEC schools, is they have these just unbelievable athletic monsters in the trenches, and that's absolutely what Chauncey Gooden can be for Colorado.
For sure. And you're taking a guy, if Chauncey don't go to school at Colorado, he's going to one of those schools that you mentioned,
Yes.
Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, et cetera, et cetera. Back in April, Chauncey was at the Nashville Under Armour camp, and he was named the alpha dog of the entire camp by 24/7 Sports. So obviously that's another hotbed of elite high school football talent down there in the South. But Chauncey stood out amongst a lot of impressive young talent. So I'm excited for this young man's future in Boulder.
It's official. Chauncey Gooden's a buff.
All dogs to Colorado.